When it loses hope of misleading you in these ways, and you have performed works of service, as you had intended, it will try to fill your heart with worry, and keep you constantly depressed, so that you regret the good you have done in the past. In this way, the evil inclination hopes to deprive you of the reward for it, and make the good you have done unacceptable to the Creator. If you commit a sin, the evil inclination will try to fill your heart with joy and delight in what you have done, so that you are encouraged in it, and eager to repeat it. If you become aware of the evil inclination's deceitful tricks and alert to its various snares, you can be wary of them and, with God's help, be saved from them. But if you are not aware of them, it will suddenly cast you down and in an instant empty its arrows into you, as it says, until an arrow strikes through his liver. If you stand up to it in all this, and it cannot entice you in the ways we have mentioned, it will try to do so through your studies. If it observes in you an eagerness to learn wisdom, the evil inclination will say to you, should you not be contented with what sufficed for the great ones of your generation and your elders, namely to know your faithful Torah? Are you not aware that there is no end to wisdom? Set as your goal knowledge of the major principles of faith and the fundamentals of the Torah, and then study that with which you can adorn yourself in the eyes of people, such as, for instance, poetry and meter, the fine points of grammar, exotic riddles, and popular proverbs. Put aside matters of law and the debates of the sages. Concerning them, do not involve yourself in the study of the principles of logical demonstration or dialectics, the different types of analogies and proofs, the relation between cause and effect, or the connection between the literal meaning and the inner meaning, for these subjects are complex and subtle in their meaning. Rely on the bearers of the tradition, even in matters you could verify on your own, just as you rely on them where you are unable to do so. If you do not listen to it, but exert and strengthen yourself in your studies, it will shoot at you the arrows of envy of your colleagues. If they attain knowledge that you do not possess, you will resent them, try to find faults in them, belittle them, and denigrate them, as if they had deprived you of your understanding, and stolen wisdom that was yours. And if you attain knowledge that they do not possess, they will seem small to you, in the light of your superior understanding, and you will despise them for their ignorance, and flaunt this before the common people. You will be so conceited and will glory so in your wisdom that you will claim to know what you do not know and will be too proud to learn. When you do learn, you will be arrogant and impatient when objections are raised. Increasingly, you will regard yourself as a sage. You will seek honor by ascribing ignorance to your colleagues, and adorn yourself by shaming your peers. In this way, you will be deprived of the moral instruction of the wise in regard to God and His Torah. If it does not succeed in its plan to entice you in regard to knowledge of God and His Torah, it will try to do so in regard to the practice of His service. When you perform an act for the sake of God, the evil inclination will magnify and exalt it in your sight and make you arrogant about it, inducing you to think slightingly of your contemporaries, making it easier for you to despise, humiliate, and shame them, while in the eyes of God they may be better than you. If among your colleagues there is one who is more advanced than you in the service of God, whose deeds are better than yours, and who endeavors to draw closer to God more than you do, the evil inclination will try to incite you against that person and will say to you, any manifestation of diligence in God's service on the part of someone besides you underscores your own deficiency. Were it not for that individual, you would appear to both man and God more righteous than any of your contemporaries. Invite against him, envy and hate him, search for his defects and anything contemptible in him. Lie in wait to discover his failings, and keep track of his mistakes. Call attention to them as best you can, and discredit him on their account. If you can spread slander about him to diminish his reputation among the people, do so. Answer it by saying, how shall I despise one who God loves, disparage one whom the Creator praises? If I am too lazy to fulfill God's service as He does, should I also hate He who fulfills it? That is no way to repay the Creator. May He be exalted for what I owe Him. Rather, it is my duty, for love of Him, to live those who love Him, and out of honor for Him, to honor those who honor him. As it is written, he honors those who revere God. You know what happened to Miriam in the narrative beginning. Miriam and Aharon spoke against Moshe, and what happened to Korah and his party when they were envious of Moshe and Aharon and free near to God.